But what we have to understand, because this is very good, is no matter what, if it's not Christian, it's something else. It's going to be secular and atheist. And it's very disingenuous to think that like, oh, I don't want the Christian flag, but the LGBT flag, that's fine. No matter what, there is one side. Nothing is in neutral. There's no such thing as a complete neutrality. So I can want you to be Christian while still giving you the free will to choose it or not. That's what Christianity is. I can want to promote it. I can want to have Christian signs up, but if you choose to reject it, there's no gun to your head. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hi.
You Christian, not Christian?
I'm not Christian.
Okay. Atheist, agnostic?
I think I'm atheist, probably.
Okay, go for it, man.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at Christianity, I think it's really like a good tool, a good institution.
Yeah.
Especially back in the day, I think we as people have an urge to kind of understand why we're here, where we're here. I think most of the teachings in the Bible is good.
Yeah.
But what I'm really scared of is like the effect on our politics and on certain Christians using it to make America into a country that it's not ever been, that it's not should be, to try to nationalize our laws into some Christian, that there's some moral claims or certain ways people should act based on what they think and based on their book that they read. I don't think that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where we should go as a country.
So, I mean, America was founded as a Christian country.
Yeah,
but
we were never founded on a nation.
Right. It's not theocracy. Yeah. No, I'm going to go into that. So we fled from Rome. We fled from Europe. We came to the Americas. 55 of the 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence were Bible-believing. But here's very important, okay? Nowhere in Christianity are we called to force people to religion. It's not Islam, right? We don't live in a theocracy. So in a Christian society, even a Christian nationalist society, if you're atheist, you're fine, dude. There's no law or gun to your head to say, like, if you're atheist, you get fined or something like that. That is not a Christian concept. Does that make sense?
So I acknowledge that most founding fathers were Christian, but they made every single conscious decision to avoid making a Christian nation. And you can read the Federalist Papers, you can read Hamilton's explanation for this. They don't mention Christ in any of the Declaration of Independence. They don't mention Christ in the Constitution. They made it very clear.
Yes.
In the First Amendment, in the Bill of Rights, the Federalists fought for, is the right for
freedom of religion.
Yeah, well, not only the freedom of religion, but for the government not to endorse a particular religion.
Yeah, and that's what I just said, right? Because that's a Christian concept.
Yeah, but when you say a Christian nationalist nation,
well, not nationalist. Okay. It was the majority of men were Christians. Now,
I agree with that.
Even some of them were like, were they Christian? Were they not? Right? Yeah. But you have to understand, a Christian concept is not theocracy. It is not a law where if you're not Christian, you're not punished.
I get that.
Okay, yeah. So there's no
it's
issue.
just like I'm saying, what I'm scared of is certain politicians, these Republican politicians, using Christianity as a catalyst to.
But what would be bad about that, though, if every religion could still be fine?
Well, it's not this. So, like, for instance, like the Ten Commandments in school. Like, what do you think about that as a Christian?
What do I think about that? Yeah, I think the Ten Commandments are great.
Well, like, what do you think about like forcing people to put posters up in school of the Ten Commandments?
Force them to put posters up?
Yeah, like teachers,
I don't.
Required by the law.
Yeah, for sure, man. And yeah, even like, I'll be honest, dude, I think the Christian framework compared to any other framework is superior, but I don't think you should be forced to.
So you'd be opposed to those laws, like
man.
Like text legislators, like forcing teachers to put up Ten Commandments. Like,
I mean, look, dude, like, because the culture here in Texas is Christian, it's inevitable. There's gonna be, like, if I go to the Middle East, they're gonna have pictures of whatever, you can take
I mean, but that's the great thing about America is I don't think it should ever be inevitable. I don't think that just the fact that, we have Christians here means that we should make a nation of Christianity, or like a nation that is just fully in line with the teachings of Jesus.
Well, it depends what you mean, though, man, because something can be promoted while also giving you the free will. Like, if you're atheist, like, this is kind of what I'm saying, right? There's going to be a hint of Christianity in America, because our founding fathers were that. If we're so opposed and against that, I would just say move. Like, if you are atheist, whether you are or you're not, go to communist China, North Korea, where you're 100% right. It is illegal to have any religion. Yeah. But it's very hypocritical when America was founded by Christians. We have the bedrock and the framework of Christianity, one of the best countries in the world, but to then reject anything that brought
But again, like, the founders of America made it very clear to not be. The American experiment is an experiment in a country where everyone can be whatever religion they want, and they feel no pressure, no endorsement by the federal government to act in a certain way or to act in the teachings of Jesus, which I think we should always strive for. And, I'm going to support you if you're a Christian. I think Jesus was a great guy. I think if you really follow the teaching of the Bible, follow the teachings of Jesus, you'll probably have a better life. You'll probably have a more full life.
Yeah.
But just when I see I'm political science, I want to get into politics. When I see Republican lawmakers like using Christian nationalism to justify like policy decisions and endorsements,
right,
and who they give money to.
But what we have to understand, because this is very good, is no matter what, if it's not Christian, it's something else. It's going to be secular and atheist. And it's very disingenuous to think that like, oh, I don't want the Christian flag, but the LGBT flag, that's fine. No matter what, there is one side. Nothing is in neutral. There's no such thing as a complete neutrality. So I can want you to be Christian while still giving you the free will to choose it or not. That's what Christianity is. I can want to promote it. I can want to have Christian signs up. But if you choose to reject it, there's no gun to your head.
Yeah, exactly.
But even if you are secular, what I'm saying is it's a double standard. If you're not Christian, seculars are going to do that too. All-inclusive gender washrooms, pride flag. I moved from Canada. I'm a legal immigrant from Canada. There's Bill C-9. If I preach God made the male and female, I can be thrown into jail.
Oh, yeah,
so that's
I don't like Canada. I like America.
Yeah,
I don't want America to ever be
hold up, though.
Country of.
Well, that's the thing. Hold up. You just said you like America, not Canada, but Canada's more to what you want as far as there's no pushing Christianity whatsoever, and look what overtook it. But yet you're here in America. So why did that happen in Canada though? Like if you're running for politics,
I'm not Canadian.
So I'll tell you why it happened, man. Because they're pushing a much more secular agenda. Because when you remove God, there's secularism, and you know what the fruit of that is? Horrible. And that's why here in America you say you don't like Canada, so it's just a little hypocritical, right?
How?
Because you're in a Christian predominant society. If we remove God here in Texas, you may not like it now, but if we remove God, all hell breaks loose. And that's why I immigrated.
How do you know that?
Because I'm living proof. My pastor's thrown in jail. I legally immigrated here. I fled from Canada. It's turning into a communist country.
So I mean, as we can see in any single Western country in the 21st century, secularism's on the rise. Christianity's on the rise. We've become more civil, more productive, more open. I mean, I don't know how you can say like all hell is going to break loose.
Would you say 1 million abortions a year is productive?
Huh?
Would you say 1 million abortions a year is productive?
Well, I don't have any moral contingency with abortion, so I don't care.
Right, so that's what I mean. So secularism produces preference, and that's very dangerous.
My beliefs is not found on the beliefs of Jesus. I don't get my beliefs from the Bible.
So then why not move to Canada if you're secular?
Because I believe in the American dream.
Which is what?
Which is freedom of religion, freedom of speech. You can be able to do what you want. And you don't have politicians endorsing they can endorse our religion they want as long as they don't have laws obligating it, endorsing it by the federal government.
So you would condemn Canada then, who they threw my pastor in jail? Like yes. there was an opposite. Okay, then that's fine. Like
I'm not.
But a lot of the world, like I'm not. If you're secular or not, I'm just saying, man. Nothing is in neutral. If we continue to push a secular agenda with secular politicians, that's what inevitably ends up happening.
I know, but then when you use the word secular there, you're loading it as an immoral, you think it's an immoral thing. When you say secular to me, that just means someone doesn't believe in Jesus Christ, which doesn't affect the beliefs. You have to make a new foundation for your beliefs, and that can guide you a million different ways. Just because you don't believe in Jesus doesn't mean everyone's just automatic woke mind virus throwing pastors in jail. It just means like there's a million other beliefs that just aren't with Jesus. They're just different beliefs.
I would say when we remove God, the woke secular mind virus begins to take over.
Like, what do you mean?
We look at the majority of universities today.
Okay.
Like, when we remove God and we have secularism, a lot of hell breaks loose. Like, the mental health rate has never been worse. We have transgenderism, LGBTQ.
What's wrong with transgenderism?
I'd say it's not reality. There's only two genders.
Reality?
There's male and female. That's it. Biology. XXXY.
That's not been the understanding of what gender is for a long time now.
So when did gender get changed from sex?
Like usually around like the 21st century, and we started getting better understanding of gender, and we started looking at brains of people with transgenderism, and we started seeing how bad gender convergence therapy is. If you just sit there and tell someone they aren't transgender over and over again, it's not going to fix them. There's something differently wrong with their brain, not wrong with their brain, different with their brain that is making them feel a certain way. And it seems that if they express the gender that they feel most aligned with, that creates better conditions for all of society. It makes them happier, it makes us happier, it makes them actually engage society instead of depressed. There's just no reason not to want it besides you have a book that says, oh, it's not real, it's not reality. It's complete. Reality is what we ever want it to be. If they think that
that's the danger of atheism, though.
How?
Reality is whatever we want it to be. So my wife's pregnant as an example, right? If I say
but when you say, oh, that's not reality, reality is
I'm just using your logic. Okay. Reality is whatever it wants to be.
No, I'm saying that based on what you claimed. You said that's not reality. Transgenderism is not reality.
Okay,
how is that not reality?
We're jumping a bit. I can answer that in a second, but based on your claim, you said reality is preference. It's whatever it wants to be. So if that's a baby in there and I say it's a clump of cells, why should I be reprimanded or charged if I take that out? That's what my reality says. That was the 20th century, man. Bloody century. This is what atheism produces. We can go to transgenderism if you want, dude. The term gender role actually got coined in the 1970s. Before that, sex and gender were always the exact same. Always been the exact same. No. You can let me know where.
There's been gender fluctuations in many different cultures and different gender assumptions throughout all of human history. Gender is completely a social construct.
Yeah, just because there is something doesn't mean that it's right.
And just because we make the distinction between sex and gender doesn't mean that was ever not a difference. Like it's just like. And then what's wrong with someone being transgender in your mind? Why is that wrong?
So we're jumping.
Yeah,
you just gotta let me speak.
Okay,
You're kind of over-speaking, right? So first and foremost, gender came out in the 1970s by John Money. Before that, sex and gender were always the same. There are two sexes, male and female. Gender, I mean, sure, I even reject gender. If you want to say it's a spectrum, whatever, there's still only male and female, two sexes. And just to point on what you said, right? You said, well, they have something wrong in their brain. I have something called OCD. It's a mental illness.
Not something wrong with their brain.
There is something wrong with my brain, right? I was on meds. I've seen psychologists. Do you know what a psychologist?
I have OCD.
Okay, that's fine. But you know what a psychologist should do? Treat my brain. Shouldn't change anything by altering body parts or confirming that. Does that make sense? Like with any other thing, depression, anxiety, if it is a mental illness, actually the DSM-4, it was known as gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder. It was only recently the gender,
so
DSM-5.
DSM-5.
Well, hold up, yes, DSM-5, yes. Now they changed it due to political pressure, but before that, it was always known as gender identity disorder. So it's a complete...
When they did it first in DSM-4, they acknowledged that there was gender dysphoria, and they acknowledged that gender dysphoria and transgenderism were two different things. Gender dysphoria would be a mental illness into where your affliction to your gender is such a big importance to you that it affects your life and the people of other lives to a negative outcome.
Here's where I'm fine.
And then the transgender thing is just someone's expressing a gender that...
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, bro. If you want to dress up or, play pretend or like do whatever you want, that's fine. Like if you want to associate genuinely, let's say I'm a biological male and I want to pretend I'm a female, that's fine. Do whatever you want.
But when you say the word pretend there, that's not...
Because here's the thing.
What is the pretend part?
All right, sure, if you genuinely believe it, but you still understand, like I know trans people, whatever that word means, that know that they are hold up, I'm answering. They are biologically male, but they are acting as if they're a woman. That's fine, bro. Do whatever you want. But when you now genuinely believe that your sex is female, that's wrong because it's ruining the fabric of society. It's contradicting laws of logic.
How?
Because the first law of logic is the law of no contradiction. Then there's the law of no excluded middle. You cannot be something. You're either the light is on or the light is off. Transgenderism says the light is halfway in between. It defies it just defies logic, bro.
So transgenderism, all it's saying is that there's a social construct of what we assign these sexes. Those are genders, and those genders are what are how we expect to be treated.
Express however
and it
you
is
want.
completely different from sex. It has nothing to do with it is wearing suits and ties, it's long hair, it's how you dress, it's how you act, it's your facial hair.
If you want,
and nothing about that is...
Yeah, look, dude, again, and this is where we're going to agree, because there's a lot of nuance. I've met trans people that have been biological males. I worked with them, and they genuinely believe they are biological females. Okay, so there's nuance.
Well, trans people don't believe they're biological females.
No, you can't say that.
They believe they are women, which is a gender. They don't believe that they were born as a biological female rather than a male. They believe that they wanted to that's the whole point. They want to transition into
that they were born in the wrong body, that they should have been female, or that internally they are female, it gets very difficult. If you are a male and you have a gender, which really I would reject gender. I would say it's a personality. Just like people in like the punk rock days, they had long hair and they dressed more feminine. That's fine, but guess what, man? They're still fully male. I have no issue with that. The problem comes into place is when we begin to bend the fabric of reality. We can't do that, man.
How is that bending the fabric of reality?
Because if we say that
somebody wearing a dress bending the fabric of reality?
Well, because if we say that there are two sexes, male and female, okay, that's it.
So I've already made.
Bro, you can't let me. You keep cutting me off, all right? You just got to calm down a little bit. Gender and sex have always been the exact same until the 1970s. You can disagree with that. That's fine. No problem. There's two sexes, right? If you're a male and you want to dress as a woman, do whatever you want. Cool, man. But you are still a male. That's it. That's where I draw the line. It's as simple as that.
So, I mean, all transgender, it's just addressing the concept that sex and gender are two different things.
Yeah, but I already deny that presupposition.
And if it makes society better, why wouldn't you
Who says it makes it better?
Because
do you know the suicide rate of trans people?
Do you know the suicide rate of trans people under conversion therapy and every single thing
I'm against conversion therapy. I'd be against conversion therapy. I'm a Christian, right?
How else would you fix people?
Christian, Jesus.
Jesus?
Yep.
we see people that believe in these issues.
My wife dealt with gender confusion when she was younger, bisexual. She became born again, fixed. She doesn't desire women anymore. The majority, and again, dude, this is a very different topic. I try to keep more on the gospel. The majority of trans people have been abused. Like, their abuse rate's a lot higher, physical, mental, emotional. Their suicide rate is extremely high. There's something wrong there, man. And as a Christian, I would say, hey, I love you. Why don't you repent and believe the gospel? Become born again. And my wife is an example, man. She had gender confusion when she became born again. And this is why I'm against conversion therapy, because it's using man tools. We need to use something that is the gospel. My pastor was a heroin addict. I was a big fornicator. I was very angry. When he removes your heart of stone, gives you a heart of flesh, you're now a new creature. So ultimately, bro, that's why we're here. I'm not here to debate politics. I'm not a Charlie Kirk. I'm not here for this legislation. I'm a Christian. Obviously, I disagree with that. But what I want more, like, I'll put it this way, okay? Last thing I'll say, you can push back. You can be trans and still go to heaven. This is very important. It is not behavior modification. It's, are you born again? Now, again, it depends what you mean by trans, because like already that word is kind of confusing. But like, you can be, I'm a bad person, right? Let's say I've done bad stuff, man. Yeah, I'm a sinner, man. I've done bad stuff. Let's say I haven't done this, but like, I've killed people in the past, right? Jesus still died for you. Like, you still can be saved. So what I'm trying to do is trying to get people in the boat, become born again, and let your desires change as time goes on.
Yeah,
it's turning more into like a political.
Yeah, no. I'll do one last message
okay,
just
no
like
problem.
you did. Yeah, I mean, we can have our disagreements like that. I don't know. Just for what's important to me with Christianity is I do think it's a good tool overall. Okay. I do think it helps society overall.
Okay,
and
good.
Pretty much every single metric you can measure like how a person's life has turned out.
Yeah,
Christianity's pretty much always a good indicator.
Okay, good.
And if you look at the life of Jesus and you try to follow what he did and what he preached for, you'll probably have a pretty good life.
Awesome.
But what I'm worried about, and I think what a lot of other people are worried about, is when we try to conflate Americanism and what this country should be with the endorsement of a certain religion. And I mean that's all mainly.
Yeah, man. Now, the last thing I'll say is you're 100% right. America, although there's a Christian influence, we as Christians, we're called to be in the world, but not a part of it. So whether you're in Canada, America, a little more Christian, less Christian, we're always going to be set apart. So we're here, man, not with a political agenda. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I don't consider liberal or conservative. Now, I would lean more conservative, but I'm not a political party. I give an account to Jesus, right? So I think that's where we'll draw the line, man. We're here to preach the gospel, and you can be saved as a liberal or a Republican or this or that. Like, I'll just say this because it's very important, okay? Because I'm not with like the big like mega kind of movement. Mm-hmm. You can be a conservative or Republican and still go to hell because you're not born again. Does that make it, like, that's what it really comes down to?
Yeah, no, I 100% get that. I just like a lot of people use Christianity, especially in politics, to justify, horrid beliefs, like complete demonization of certain people and like legislation that is completely un-American at its core.
Sure.
That's the only problem I have. Christian values, if you really live the life of Jesus, I'll always say this, like, you'll probably have a pretty good life. So that's all I'm
Would you say we can wrap it up whenever you let me know, but would you say, I mean, I honestly, I don't want to go down that can of worms. I feel like we kind of ended on a good note. I was just going to say, like, would you say then the trans person, if you're saying, you follow Jesus, you'd live a good life, would you recommend them to follow Jesus as well? Do you think they are? Do you think they're not?
I think
I've met a lot of them that have rejected Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I think Christianity is a tool.
Okay.
If someone's recovering from rehab, the number one thing they suggest is
so do you think
find
we should
someone
use
to
Christianity to the trans
No,
person?
because I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I think that it's just something they're more comfortable with. It's a simple preference.
Well, with Christianity, there's something wrong with all of us, right? Regardless if you're straight, you're trans, like there should be no partiality. Like, the trans person should get the gospel.
Yeah, but I don't think transgenderism is a sin. That's the thing, though. So that's the only moral difference that we would be making in that statement.
Okay, yeah. I mean, well, as an atheist, there's no such thing as sin, right?
So when you say, should transgenderism follow the teaching of Jesus, in my world, that's just any other person. That's someone.
Well, that's what I just said, yeah. But the fact that they're not following Jesus, the majority of them are very vehemently opposed to it, I think, hey, you guys should try it out. Why not? Like, why reject it?
I mean, why follow it?
Because you just said your life will get better, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't
if you generally follow the teaching of Jesus, not those of Christianity?
Sure. So then, you know what? If I know you're not trans, but the trans person, I want them to follow Jesus just as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah, but I don't think they're doing anything wrong by being trans, though. I think it's just any other person.
Okay. But to the Bible standard, of course, there is.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
that's what we're just going to disagree.
For what you think.
Yeah. Well, Jesus, but regardless of trans or not, dude, like we've still all told a white lie. We've all looked at a man or woman with lust. Like, we're all sinners. It's not just like the trans is going to hell more than this person. So I would say everyone equally needs the gospel, bro. And I will say this, okay? Being born again with the Holy Spirit has a very transformative, powerful effect. And I would hope that more trans people, more heroin addicts, more liars, more fornicators would get that Holy Spirit. Because I can speak from personal experience and my wife. It really helps. So I would just say to the trans people, don't just discard that completely.
Yeah, I mean, just last point.
Okay, that's good.
I'll leave. Yeah, I mean, I think of like the teachings of Jesus as like a tent, kind of values of like kindness and humility. Sure. And I think like the Bible, you can have certain aspects where it stretches it out or makes it into certain things. But I think what I was saying is, if you follow what Jesus believed, then you'll generally have a better life. Again, I'll agree to that. That's just how Jesus lived his life is what I think is a good thing to do. Be nice, be generous. Jesus also called out
sin, though, right?
Huh?
Jesus also called out sin. You can't just take parts of Jesus and then disregard the others.
Exactly.
He told the woman in caught in adultery, go and sin no more.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't endorse.
But that would also.
I didn't endorse specific words of Jesus.
I know, but that would also be living like Jesus. You said if living like Jesus, right? Live a better life. Well, part of living like Jesus is calling out sin, right?
Yeah, but I don't believe it's sin. So.
Okay, but that
I don't believe it's sin just because Jesus said it's sin.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna go on rabbit trail. That's fine. Okay, man, I appreciate you. God bless you. What's your name? Alex David, nice to meet you, dude. Cheers. Yeah, have a good one. What is going on, guys? Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. That is the end of it. Again, here at UTSA, the main campus. Bit of a different spot this time. Normally we're in that location over there, but that spot was taken. And this one, you know what? Not bad, in the shade. So hopefully it looked all right, guys. We'll work on the shots in the future. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. As always, guys, if you want to support the ministry, myself, my wife, and our child on the way, Christian, you guys can always gift into the ministry below. Thank you so much to any of you guys who currently are gifting. It means the world. And as always, there is evangelism or apologetic coaching. If you yourself want to be equipped, get out to the campus, be ready to give a defense or attack other worldviews, guys. Link down below. Thank you. Have an amazing day. Check you next video. Till then, much love. Peace.